This week on the show.
The city that never sleeps.
We are in Brooklyn, New York, and this area in particular has gone through quite a renaissance.
And why it's taken ages to wake up.
We're going. Let's go.
Could it be the end for seeing mummies in some of the world's most famous museums? In Scotland, a Chinese take on a traditional Burns night supper.
That's so tasty. I can actually taste the haggis.
Hi and welcome to the Great Court here in the British Museum in London. Now this apparently is the biggest covered public square in the whole of Europe. And what a greeting for the 6 million visitors who come here every year to see collections gathered from all around the globe.
Well, a bit later, I'll be finding out why a growing number of museums are now rethinking their relationships with Egyptian mummies. Indeed, some are removing them from public display forever. But we're kicking off this week in New York. We ask if the city's famous nightlife, which went quiet during the pandemic, has finally come roaring back. We sent Kimberly Davis to find out.
It's easily one of the most electrifying places in the world. New York, America's busiest city, renowned for its 24/7 lifestyle. Today's party scene has legendary roots. Hangouts like Studio 54 and CBGB's were known for groundbreaking music, celebrities, but also a sense of freedom and escape. But COVID changed everything, and in March of 2020, DJs had to stop the music. But now that people are returning, is the city what it used to be?
I'm here to see what 24 hours in the Big Apple looks like today.
And as a native New Yorker, I know a thing or two about nightlife in this city. Now, any good night out starts with food, and where better to fill up than at one of Manhattan's most iconic delis.
It is so busy here. I have to figure out what I want really quick, because if you don't know what you want, you're gonna get shoved out of the way and people are gonna jump in right ahead of you.
The first thing I'd recommend is they give you a ticket, and the ticket gets you in.
Where is your ticket? I don't have one. Yeah, I walked in without getting one. Hello. To pay and to walk out. Hi there. Can I please get a pastrami sandwich?
Delis and diners are part of the fabric of the city, catering to hunger pangs at all hours.
Here's your pastrami.
Oh my gosh.
Enjoy.
Oh. This is gigantic.
Nothing.
I love it. It's nothing. Nothing.
Listen, food and nightlife go hand in hand, right?
Right.
We struggled a little bit during the pandemic, as did everyone in the world, literally. And we got lucky. Customers still supported us, our regulars took care of us. And that's what it means to be in business for 135 years and 5 generations.
But not all have been this lucky. Around 1,000 restaurants closed permanently. And for those that survived, it's been a challenge.
There was a lot of trial and error, and bars in the neighborhood were going through similar sets of questions. And so we didn't start 24 hours right away, because they also weren't staying open till 4 a.m. like they used to. But kind of hand in hand, lockstep, the bar scene, the nightlife scene, food scene, all coming back with a real vengeance. What do you think? It's good, right?
Wow.
Now that I'm fed, I've definitely got the energy to take me through the night. time to hit my first bar.
Hi, Anne.
Hi, it's great to see you.
Nice to meet you. Wow, look at this view.
Welcome to New York.
Oh my gosh.
Shall we come in and have a drink?
This is someone who knows the bar scene inside and out. She's got the job of getting the city's nightlife back on track.
Prior to the pandemic, New York City nightlife represented $35 billion in economic impact for the city. Overall, New York City's creative community generates close to $150 billion and almost 500,000 jobs, right? So that's the cold data, but more than anything, it's important that New York City come back so that we can be the city that everyone knows us to be.
What is New York City like now post-pandemic?
56.4 million tourists cannot be wrong. Certainly post-pandemic, we are awake.
And whilst visitor numbers aren't yet hitting pre-pandemic levels of 66 million, Anne's optimistic they'll come close by the end of this year.
Cheers!
Cheers. Taxi! And away we go. I really miss this. I miss getting into a yellow taxi, getting ready for a night out, going around, seeing the sights, feeling the lights and the glitter of the city, the smell, the buzz, the excitement. This is when New York City starts coming alive, and I love it.
I'm heading over the bridge to a part of Brooklyn that used to be a no-go area, but is now a vibrant hotspot for nightclubs in the city.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Hi, Kim. I'm Madame Vivian V.
Oh, so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. You can call me Viv. Everybody does.
Okay, Viv, sounds good. Viv, can you tell me, where are we?
Yes, we are in Bushwick. We are in Brooklyn, New York. And this area in particular has gone through quite a renaissance.
What have we got here? Tell me what we're looking at.
We have our Token Dive Bar.
Of course.
And this area has become home to the most illustrious clubs in the world.
Like where?
Like the House of Yes.
Oh my God, I've heard of this place. Do you think you could get me in?
Oh my God, I would love to take you there.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. That would be great. We're going. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yes.
Hi, Kim. Nice to meet you, Pixel.
Tell me a little bit more about your act tonight.
I've been here for 7 years, since 2013.
Wow.
I moved here with a high heel and a dream.
Do you guys think that New York is back?
Oh, New York City is back in full force, mama, kicking and screaming.
Yeah. People are aware that these live events could go away. So they treasure the experiences and they're much more present for the experiences.
Yes.
This also is the best stage in New York City and the biggest bright. I mean, you're gonna see tonight.
It feels so good to be in New York City where nightlife is just thriving, isn't it?
Even though I moved away from New York, I still get a buzz when I come back home. You just can't beat New York City.
Viv, thank you so much. This was such an amazing night.
I'm so grateful you liked it too.
Loved it.
Mwah, mwah.
Kimberly Davis there, up all night in New York City. And if you're planning a trip there this year, here's a rundown of some of the things that you can see and do while you're there.
You know that every year we wait.
If you're a musical theatre buff, then the recently opened Museum of Broadway might be something to sing about. Inside, you'll find memorabilia from over 500 productions, including costumes, set pieces, and props spanning 300 glorious years of history and culture. After a 2-year shutdown, the Statue of Liberty reopened for business in the autumn, and visitors with stamina can once again climb the 277 steps to the top of its crown. But if you don't fancy the walk up, why not take in the views from the Staten Island Ferry? The service runs several times an hour and it's free. If you're travelling in the spring, the Brooklyn Botanic Garden offers a quiet refuge from the hustle and bustle of the city. Its sprawling 52-acre grounds feature a variety of plants, flowers and trees, including their beautiful cherry blossoms, which are celebrated at an annual festival, usually held in April and early May.
And here's a fascinating fact for you. In spite of all those famous movie scenes showing yellow New York taxis honking their horns when they're caught in traffic jams, it's actually illegal to honk your horn in frustration. OK, still to come on The Travel Show.
We find out what happens when Chinese New Year meets a Scottish tradition.
Slanjava, slanjava.
About an hour's flight south of Cairo, hugging the banks of the River Nile, lies the city of Luxor. It used to be called Thebes and was the capital of ancient Egypt. Among Luxor's best-known treasures is the burial chamber of the boy king Tutankhamun. Last year was the centenary of its discovery in 1922. And we were here to cover it for The Travel Show.
Incredible. Absolutely astonishing.
But we noticed that inside the tomb, the pharaoh's remains were every bit as popular as the beautifully restored chamber itself. And we wondered why.
It was so amazing as you walk in to see it and to be able to actually see the body of someone who ruled so long ago.
Some people say it's intrusive.
They're probably right, you know. I mean, a dead body should be rest, not for people to see it. But at the same time, I mean, this person used to be a king, so it's fascinating to other people to be able to see, his body.
Hace tanto tiempo nos hemos metido en su privacidad. Esta persona pensaba que ya iba a quedarse aquí y tener todo un proceso. Y no, estamos nosotros viéndole después de tantos miles de años. Sí.
But it's not just here. Many mummies removed from the country by colonial powers still remain on public display around the world, and for some, that's unacceptable.
They are presented, they are displayed as objects. They are artifacts. They are not humans. They lose their humanity once they are on display in the museum. It's not only disrespectful for the ancient Egyptians, but it doesn't recognize the wishes of the dead.
So this is the Pitt Rivers Museum. The Pitt Rivers Museum was founded in 1881. Up until July 2020, we would have a display which is called Treatment of Dead Enemies. And that would be full of sort of human remains of different communities in the world. So in 2020 we took the human remains off display after quite an elaborate process of doing an ethical review of the whole museum. The museum has always received quite a bit of critique, both from academics but especially from Indigenous people. We were sort of seen as one of the most violent spaces in Oxford. But if we can do this much more thoughtfully, if we can do it together with communities, then there might be some really exciting possibilities.
In London, the British Museum has one of the earliest Egyptian mummies. It's a long-standing and popular exhibit.
So I'm taking you to show you the mummified remains of Gebelein Man. He's one of our pre-dynastic mummies, which means he was naturally preserved by the aridity and heat of the desert. And we think that the discovery of these natural mummies in ancient times would have inspired the Egyptians to develop mummification. There's a lot of interest in our mummified collection. Actually, all human remains provide a unique perspective, and often you see family groups gathering around the mummified remains of a person and discussing topics which can be challenging, topics such as death, such as what the afterlife may represent to different cultures. And I think what museums provide is it's a safe space and a deep time perspective on issues that still affect us today. The CT scan here allows the public to engage with some of our findings, and what we've done is we're actually embedding information points. See here there's what appears to be a cut, and by virtually peeling away his soft tissues, you can see that the cut goes into the muscle tissue. What appears to have happened is that Gebelein man was stabbed in the back, and this probably is the cause of death. Prior to the installation, there was very little information about Gebelein man as a person. And I think the most important feedback we got is that the great majority of the visitors better understood him as a person, we hope. And I think this was key for us.
In recent years, CT scans and X-rays like these have allowed us to peer through thousands of years of history with minimal disturbance to the remains.
It is important that people have consent on what happens to their bodies. That's integral. That's what makes you human. At least you need to have control over your own body. And just because you died thousands of years ago, it doesn't mean that you lose the right of consent. You lose your right to decide what should happen to your body after death.
Right, next we're heading to Scotland, where thoughts at this time of the year turn to the iconic poet Rabbie Burns.
Across the country, people mark his birthday with a hearty meal and drams of whiskey.
Well, this year, Chinese New Year is falling deliciously close to those celebrations. So here is Nick Queck with some reflections as to how that might influence the menu.
January in Scotland can be a dreich affair. The days are short, the weather cold and wet.
Maybe that's why, back in 1801, a group of friends came up with an event to warm up the winter nights and celebrate the life of our national bard, Robert Burns, or, as he's known here locally, Rabbie.
Burns Night is a lively evening of poetry, performance, and what's probably Scotland's most famous meal.
So this is what you usually get in a traditional Burns supper. You've got tatties, or mashed potatoes, neeps, aka swede, and taking centre stage, you've got the beloved haggis. Haggis has achieved near mythical status for its often grotesque description as throwaway beef and lamb offal, spices and oats. It's all bundled into a sheep's belly and boiled for hours. But the spicy mince mixture is salty, it's meaty and delicious, and it's personally one of my favourite things to eat.
In my family, Burns Night often coincides with another annual event, Chinese New Year, which takes place over 15 days at the beginning of the lunar calendar. Like Burns Night, it's all about friends and family coming together for a massive feast.
So my friends and I, we host our own special event, and we call it Chinese Burns, where we serve dishes from both cultures at the same time.
I'm on the hunt for a culinary twist on the Burns supper that'll be the centrepiece of my next Chinese Burns evening.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hello,
Lovely to meet you, Jimmy. How are you?
Thanks for coming along.
Let's head down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's Chinese New Year and it's Burns Night happening around the same time. What am I going to make for my party?
Nick, you'll be making a haggis with Edo spring rolls with a chili whiskey dip.
That sounds delicious.
So first of all, we've got some Edo, which is a Chinese root veg.
Right.
Similar to potatoes, but a wee bit more nuttier and a wee bit more sweet.
A bit hairier.
A bit hairier as well.
And what else is going into
Obviously, the hero of the dish is the haggis.
Yes.
I'm just going to put some carrots in it to add a wee bit of crunch.
So I guess it's kind of like haggis, neeps and tags.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to recreate here.
Right.
But with an Asian twist.
Right, okie dokie. So what are you cooking up first?
Well, it's the slow process of just peeling the Edos first.
Do you often try to incorporate Scottish and traditional ingredients in your Chinese cooking? Or?
Yeah, all the time. Whether it's the ingredients we use, like Ayrshire pork or Aberdeen Angus steak, to we use a bramble dip as well. So it's, tasty stuff.
With the Edos peeled, Jimmy pops them into a steamer. He then slices the haggis and throws it into a wok.
Wok fried haggis?
Wok fried haggis.
There's a first for everything. That sounds brilliant. Oh, look at that!
And then we're just going to mash that up.
There's your Asian tatties.
So now we've got all our ingredients that we can just use and wrap up.
As well as our dual heritage, Jimmy and I have something else in common. Both of our parents ran Chinese takeaways.
We've got a bit in common there, my goodness me.
Tight against it so you can feel the haggis there.
But even so, Jimmy's definitely got the edge in his spring roll technique.
You want to bind it together, just going to drop it in.
Mine looks like an envelope as opposed to a roll. I don't know what's gone wrong there. It looks like a purse.
Yeah.
Having made my contribution, I leave it to Jimmy to fry the rolls and rustle up his chili whiskey dip. But we're still missing one key ingredient. A piper's the perfect accompaniment to any burn supper, however unconventional it might be.
Oh wow, look at that. It looks amazing.
Oh man, that looks so good.
Let's dig in, shall we?
Let's go for it.
That's so good. That's so tasty. I can actually taste the haggis, which is surprising. I thought I'd get lost in there, but it's actually really nice.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to add this to my Chinese burns night.
Absolutely.
Should we raise a spirit to raise spirits?
Absolutely.
Slanjava.
Slanjava.
Thanks, Nick. What a delicious looking feast to end on. Join us next week when we're in Nigeria and the UK looking at looted artefacts. Thousands of Benin bronzes were seized by the British over a century ago and scattered across the West. Now some places are giving them back.
For us, it's the right thing to do, and it's for the people whose heritage this is.
In the meantime, do check out our pages on social media. There's all sorts of great travel content there from around the BBC. But that's it for now. See you next time, and goodbye.